Welcome, everybody, to another edition of Steve's Wrestling Ramble. And today we'll be going over everything from TLC, Monday Night Raw, and SmackDown Live for Tuesday. SmackDown Live after the pay-per-view, of course. Now, SmackDown being on the road to the Royal Rumble. We still have Roadblock End of the Line for Monday Night Raw and their brand of pay-per-view later this month. But after that, then they, too, will join in the travel on the road to the Royal Rumble. The Royal Rumble will be the next pay-per-view. And obviously, this will be the next major pay-per-view. Our show here, Steve's Wrestling Ramble with Rusty Mikey and Mark Rambo. We'll be having I'll be having my annual Royal Rumble pool. But now that I have an actual team now, we'll have our team Royal Rumble pool. And everybody that wants to be part of it, let me know. Let Mark know. Let Mike know. Let all three of us know individually or however you want to know. And then if people, let's say, let Mark or reach out to Mark or Mike. Either way, then they in turn, as my co-host, will let me know who's interested. So then I'll add them to the mix. It's nothing earth-shattering or high-tech in how I do things with my Rumble pool. I write their names. Like I literally write 30 names, 120 names, 200 names, however many people want to join. I write every single person's name myself on pieces of paper, put it in my hat, my military army hat that I have here, that I have from when I was in the service, my cap there. And then we probably will, and I spoke with Mark and Mike about this, we probably will be doing it live on air. Isn't that right, Mark? You want to do it live on air for the Royal Rumble pool? Because I know I discussed it with them about that, what they think would be better if we just do it offline, and then because I didn't know which way they wanted to go, if they wanted to be bothered with this segment on live on air, doing it, then otherwise, because that's a lot of names I'm going through. So, like I said, welcome to Let Me Know at WWE_podcast, and let me know you're interested. I already got a couple of people let me know. I got a couple of big YouTubers, Mark, that are going to be part of the Rumble pool. So that's pretty good.
Okay.
So everybody will find out who those individuals are when we get to that point. And since we do like to, maybe I'm different from other YouTubers, other podcasters, where I bring up things that usually they talk about off air, on air, but it's nothing like it's earth shattering. So I don't mind bringing it up on there. Heck, a couple of weeks ago, me and Mark almost spent 20 minutes talking about WrestleMania 33 tickets. So we don't mind bringing up things on air. On air that we don't feel is absolutely has to be off-air conversation. So one thing I do want to bring up on here that I did not tell Mark about ahead of time to bring up here, and I just thought of it off the cuff for our Royal Rumble pool. Kind of planning this, here on air for the whole world to know, and for us to go back on if we need to remember what we agreed to. Okay, first we're going to be doing it live on air, correct?
Correct.
We're going to do it in a segment. Okay. The next thing is how would you, in your humble opinion, like me to do that? Let's say we have 120 people. So that's going to be 4 sheets of 1 to 30. Do you want it to go, when I do the people, say after they call the names, am I going 1 to 30, in that way, in a snake order? Or am I going 4 ones in the 4, 4, 4, 4 in that kind of batch way? Which one do you think is best for business?
Probably 1 to 30.
Okay, so we go 1 to 30, and then we go back up 30 to 1, 1 to 30 in the snake way. Let's just say in that situation, 120, it would go 1 to 30, 30 to 1, 1 to 30, 30 to 1. In that way for each pool.
I mean, that sounds fine with me.
Okay,
because I don't know about how you guys thought about it.
For me, I actually like that one better. I just didn't know if you guys like the other way of doing just the ones, the 4 people with ones, and then the 4 with 2, going down that way in order, or just 1 through 30 and then 1 through 30 4 times.
Yeah, I was figuring the 1 through 30 would be best.
Okay, so like I said, I have some YouTubers that will be part of it. And also picked out a couple of names randomly of WWE superstars, just to put them in the fray too, just to see there. And I picked ones that are active on Twitter, let's just say. But beyond that, I definitely hope, like I said, people that are interested. I already have Mark part of it, obviously. Mike, Palmer J. Simmons is already. Yep, there you go. Palmer J. Simmons is already. He already made the list, so he's made this
on the
list.
list.
He's made the list here. I don't know. Did you see that? I don't know if they have it in the WWE shop yet, but Jericho has a new T-shirt talking about the list.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that.
The ugly Christmas sweater T-shirt, or the ugly Christmas sweater thing. But anyways, no, Palmer's on the list. Mark and Mike. I got the crew, the team over at Lazy Booking Podcast.
Yeah.
So definitely, everybody, Mark included, everybody welcome to check them out when you do have time. Whenever people do find time, they did a live episode actually yesterday. Usually they do it Thursdays, but due to scheduling situations, they did it last night. Talking everything, kind of like how we do. Talking everything, and for Royal Rumble predictions, Mark, they might not all of them, but one or two of them might be coming on here for the Royal Rumble prediction episode there in late January. So, and I might in turn for their prediction episode either that same night or whatever be on their show. So we're hoping to do collabs, and we're also, as they said when they gave us a shout out last week, that if my team here, if we are all able to make it to WrestleMania, that we'll be doing a live collab there in Orlando, Florida. So that as well. So nothing really else about the pool that I need to say or anything. Anything else that you might have a comment, question, or concern about that comes to mind about this pool?
I'm ready for the TLC review.
All right, then let's get to it. TLC review 2016 edition for SmackDown Live. I guess, as always, as I say, what were your overall thoughts on the pay-per-view?
Well, I actually thought it was a little bit better than I expected. The AJ Styles match. Whew! And just incredible, unbelievable. A lot of people wanted me to put that video up. I have the video as we speak. Still did not put it up. I feel disappointed in myself. But the pay-per-view was a lot better than I expected. Very, very interesting in my opinion. A couple of matches caught my eye when I was expecting it not to. But I thought it was a really, really, really good pay-per-view, and it's something that SmackDown should be proud of.
Yeah, I'd agree as well. I would say it's a pretty good pay-per-view, and it could be a good month in WWE here in December, as usually it sometimes isn't a lull. But with these second-rate, as some people call them, pay-per-views, I'm actually doing pretty well. Because, hey, Roadblock on the line, we have the title match there with Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens for the WWE Universal Championship. We have Charlotte Flair versus Sasha Banks in an Iron Woman match. So we got that happening with them. Now, everybody already knows what I think of that situation, how that's been flip-flop, top potatoed, but still going to be a big-ass match, and it's going to tear the roof off there for Roadblock, no matter what my feelings on how this storyline has been handled and this feud has been handled. But with that set aside, the match itself, as all the other matches really have, to me and many others, is going to deliver tenfold. So with Roadblock and what the prospective card's looking there, and with how TLC was this past Sunday, and how great that was, and interesting with some of the winners and losers in that way. I think to me the biggest surprise of this interesting thing to me, besides Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt winning the tag team championships, is the ending after Nikki Bella defeating Carmella. In their no disqualification match, and Carmella getting on the mic, saying that, "Oh, Nikki, but you feel that you got your revenge from Survivor Series, it's not SummerSlam, Survivor Series, but you didn't. I wasn't the one that attacked you, Natalya. Saying it was Natalya. That really wasn't too surprising to me. I don't know what you thought there, but I thought that maybe they would probably go that way. Now, we're hearing rumors or hearing thoughts about how it could be moving forward. Some people have been suggesting in some YouTube channels that I watch on a regular basis have also been suggesting and saying that maybe WWE might swerve us in the respect that we think it's going to be Natalia. In the end, it's not going to be. As in, each and every week she's going to proclaim her innocence to Nikki Bella, and it's going to get to a point where it's going to be booked where in the end she was actually right. And no one's believing her. They all think she's lying and all this other stuff and such. But in the end, she wasn't it. Now the reports and the stuff that I heard from those YouTubers and reports that I read online excuse me, that had said that did not specifically say who is going to be the one that attacked her. So take that as it is, grain of salt, news and rumors that I hear, as anybody hears, out there in the wrestling world. But what are your thoughts on that? Where do you think it's going to go? Like, do you think in the end it's just going to be straightforward and simple that it's going to be Natalia, or do you think the WWE is going to try to outsmart us or try to outsmart us and say no, it's not Natalia?
Well, but with the rate that they're going now, I think they're going to try to outsmart us. I think, she's gonna. This is what I think is going to happen. They're going to continue to kind of like bring us closer and closer, maybe to think that Natalia is the one who did it. Like you said, it'll make it seem like she isn't, but then she'll do something that makes it already, state that she was the person who did it. And then it's going to lead to another issue between Nikki Bella. And now she has two people on her hands, being Carmella and Natalia. Maybe the Carmella issue will leave and Carmella will go on with something else. Or maybe she'll have some sort of like a three-way feud issue going on. And, then just shit happens from there. I feel like, it's going to lead on to something. It's going to lead on to another pay-per-view match, in my opinion. But I feel like Natalia's eventually going to not prove her innocence. She's going to fake it and then attack Nikki, and then it's going to start some other ignition and fire or feud or whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I see going
that's like I said, that was the biggest thing for me. Besides James Ellsworth sticking his nose where it doesn't belong in the main event.
James
championship match. Yeah, that was certainly interesting.
James Ellsworth, that's my dude. Give him in the ring. Give him the ring. That's what Palmer said.
Yeah, Palmer wants to give him the ring, and Mark here wants to give him the title. So
give the dude the ring.
I mean, why not? I mean, if he wins the championship, it'd be equal to Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, man. James Ellsworth is the GOAT.
The GOAT of nonsense.
No
Alexa Bliss defeated Becky Lynch, becoming the new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. That certainly was interesting. I didn't see that coming. As I stated in the prediction episode, I kind of wanted that to happen. I was going to be cheering for that to happen, but predicted Becky Lynch to win because I didn't think it was going to happen, obviously. But pleasantly surprised they put the women's title on Alexa Bliss. I don't know for how long it'll be. Hopefully it's not a transitional champion kind of situation, but however, whatever. Congratulations, of course, to Alexa Bliss. I don't know if you saw her on Talking Smack after TLC, but kind of an emotional moment there is just for anybody winning a championship and everything. Then talking about her talking about her parents, family, and everything, and what an honor it was, and such like that. And then right away after, going back into character, but it was so nice to see the other side, the real side of her or anybody. For me, I always like to see the real side of superstars, and that's what I do like about Talking Smack in a way. Sometimes that they let you see that their real self, I guess, in a way, a little bit, along with obviously their character and what they're supposed to talk about and hitting their points and whatever. That's not a scripted show. It's not 100% kayfabe. It can be a semblance of realism. So that's what I enjoy about that and about that show a lot. And plus, Renee Young's there, so that doesn't hurt. So, what are your thoughts on that? And Alexa Bliss becoming the new women's champion?
Well, I'm not going to lie to you. Alexa Bliss having that championship belt around her waist and on her shoulder does not look bad considering the character that she has. It looks perfect on her. Now let's just see what she'll do with it. Now you got a pissed off Becky Lynch. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kick her off," and all this other stuff, and all this other stuff going on. It's just, let's just see what she could do with it. Actually, talking about Alexa Bliss, there was a little glimpse of an un-PG type of thing. If you watched that segment, calling her, the little bitch and stuff. And he said, now this bitch is what is it? SmackDown Women's Champion. Everybody was like, oh my gosh, is that a sign? Is something going on? Hopefully things are changing. I was thinking the same thing. I don't think it was. Same with the Raw issue. I want to get to that later on if we do.
We will.
Whew. Yeah, it was. I feel like, surprisingly, I know people are gonna be like, "Oh, you like Becky Lynch." I'm a little interested to see how Alexa Bliss is gonna be with the title on her. She's a perfect fit for it. Let's see how long. That's all I'm gonna say. Show's over.
No, it's over. Dang, we just started. No, I know.
Oh man, was that the crickets?
Yeah, you said the show's over, so I guess nothing else to do.
Oh man.
But no, anyway, the other thing from TLC that there, that's better.
Something else like Mr. Miyagi.
But Baron Corbin, crushing Kalisto, and visiting him again at SmackDown Live. Hearing some rumors about him getting a push and at some point being part of the championship scene, the WWE World Championship scene. Even though in respect to the article, it did just say championship, but I assuming they meant the WWE World Championship scene. If they meant just regular championship, then maybe for the IC title. But me, even as a fan of Corbin, I don't really want to see him yet in the WWE World title scene until summer 2017. Looks like for me be the earliest for Baron Corbin to get a WWE World title match.
I can see that because you don't want to push him just like the way, in my opinion, they pushed Roman Reigns at one point. Oh my gosh, I can't stand Roman Reigns. I'm sorry to get off topic. Just for off topic, real quick. Roman Reigns, good wrestler. I like him. Cool. He's just used in a completely wrong way. I hate Roman Reigns because of the way they use him. But I'm just gonna go back to topic. Baron Corbin definitely deserves a title run, without a doubt. He's suited for a title position, just not yet. You don't want to push him, and the people, aka the fans, aka the universe, don't like him the same way they don't like Roman, because after a period of time, you're gonna keep seeing Baron. You're gonna keep seeing him, and it's annoying, and you haven't really got to, soak in what he's all about, and then you're gonna hate him. So give him time. I would actually start off with a IC title. I could see him having an IC title. I could see him having that, or if the US title was over in SmackDown, I could see him having the US title. But don't give him the WWE Championship before the fans actually get to really know him and get to like him in the ring. I can see it happening, just not yet. Not yet.
We traced his bloodline back.
I see what you're saying there. But I would like to see Corbin as the champion. But like I said, summer in 2017 would be the best time to start putting him in the main title picture. Maybe for now, insert him in the IC title with since Dolph Ziggler and the Miz feud ending at TLC with their ladder match, which is pretty dang awesome as well. The Miz getting the win there, retaining the titles. I thought it would happen, but now he has to have a new feud. And as it looks from SmackDown Live, they could be with Dean Ambrose, but Dean Ambrose has unfinished business with Ellsworth and AJ Styles in the world title picture. That was just more so for the Miz and Daniel Bryan storyline, in my opinion, in that situation there from SmackDown Live. So, so I didn't look like Dean's going to be, the next feud for the Miz in the IC title. It could be maybe Baron Corbin or someone like that. I think would be best. A nice general succession for Baron to keep going up the ladder, climbing that ladder to get to the title picture, the world title picture. first getting an IC title chance and go from there and have a feud there with the Miz and see where that goes. Because I'm wondering how this whole thing is going to be ending with the Miz and Daniel Bryan, if there's actually going to be a match and Bryan's ever going to be cleared and all the other stuff. Where do you think that's going to go? If that's how that ever is going to end there with the Miz and Daniel Bryan saga?
Well, you see, I would say they'll give him one match, just end the whole beef. But at the same time, I just don't see that happening with Vince being Vince. I would love to see Daniel Bryan go in the ring one more time, but it's just not going to happen just yet. I do see him coming back. I do see him being back in the ring, probably not day to day like he used to. It's going to take some time. What is he, like 35? He can still get in the ring. Don't get me wrong. He looks healthy. He's still in shape, but they're not going to give him the ability to get back in that ring to end the whole Miz thing. Maybe something happens is the Miz does something that just gives gives Daniel Bryan his approval. I don't know. I would love to say that he's going to get back in the ring, but it's not going to happen. So something small, something major, maybe like Daniel Bryan puts him in a match. Miz wins the match. Daniel Bryan's like, okay, you earn my respect type of thing. But that's about it, honestly. But just nothing else is really going to happen with that. They're just teasing us technically.
So you don't see Daniel Bryan getting cleared, no match, not even a match with the Miz and Daniel Bryan picking someone to represent him, nothing like that.
Well, I do see that, but it's just it's sort of unrealistic because they're so tight on the concussions, they're so tight on the injuries. I mean, for crying out loud, rumor has it they're going to strip AJ Styles because of his ankle. So.
Oh, really? I didn't even hear that.
Yeah, that's what I just heard yesterday. They're going to strip AJ Styles because of the ankle injury. It's just there's so much going on with the injuries and stuff. I just don't see him getting in the ring just yet. I would love to, because I just yes, all fucking yes. But it's just not gonna happen. I don't see it happening just yet. But it will happen.
So I guess even though we're about to move on to Raw, since that's succession from pay-per-view Raw then to SmackDown Live, I guess since you already brought up with AJ Styles and that rumor, I don't know where exactly you heard it from, but either way, or rumor or whatever news, about he might be stripped of the WWE World Championship, and I'm not questioning that. I just wonder if that is the case, then WWE must think, or must not just think, they must have to know to do something like that, or even to ponder and think about doing something like that. That his injury in his leg is worse than just a sprain that's broken, or something to an nth degree where he needs surgery and then 6 months away. Kind of like the Finn Balor situation where he won the Universal Championship, and got injured there that night when he won it, being the inaugural champion, and had to be stripped the next night because they knew right away. And then from the X-ray they took afterward backstage there in the arena, that it was really serious, and then he had to get surgery and this all this time off, and he might be returning as a special entrant or surprise, even though not to most, because we might. As we talk about right now, he might be back for Royal Rumble and be an entrant there. But here for exactly. But here for AJ Styles, like I said, WWE must know. Well, obviously they will, but I'm just saying they must know more than it's letting on or what they're saying, because if that is the case, then it's something serious that he definitely has to get surgery for, and then he definitely does deserve to be stripped, or it just would have to be what it be, and be stripped of the championship, and the WWE creative for SmackDown Live and. In general, have to scramble and find a way or find a whatever from there. Like how are they going to do? How they book it? Who's going to be the champion? Now until his return and all this other stuff that comes into it. So there's a lot of dominoes to fall if that's the case. That's why I said that they better know for sure, for dang sure, that injury is a lot worse to strip him the title, because all these other domino effects, as I just mentioned, moving parts, they have to then think about in the creative meetings on what to do with that situation, as they had to already the night after, 24 hours later, after Finn Balor won, and he had to be stripped or released, had to relinquish the championship due to injury himself for Raw, and how that actually has worked out well, and how Raw's team works, and how that worked out with Kevin Owens being the champion, becoming the champion, and how everything has been since then as him as the champion. Whether people like his title reign or not, I actually commend creative for Raw for how they with having the scramble, how they booked it from there. So what are your thoughts on that? Do you see it more of a rumor or it actually being true? Because like I said, if it is true, they better make sure it's dang true.
Well, this is what I think is going to happen. AJ Styles is going to get stripped only because they want him to heal, like, correctly. He's going to come back. I think the injury's not as bad as it seems, but they're going to strip him anyway. They're either going to put up a match where, it's like, I don't know, James Ellsworth and Dean Ambrose going at it. Obviously, Ellsworth is going to lose. It's like he's going to win. But Ellsworth is, Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose is eventually going to get the title. They're going to let AJ heal for a little bit. There's still going to be the feud between Ellsworth and Ambrose. It's going to kind of die out. AJ comes back, wins it. I think something else is going to happen, and something else is going to play a role. They want him to heal healthy. They want him to be healthy again. They want him to, be the AJ Styles that was, the Royal Rumble AJ Styles, the AJ Styles everybody knows, not the ankle sprain AJ Styles. They want him to be the high flyer. They want him to be, just the typical type of guy. They don't want him to be hurt and get even worse if he did wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to strip him, but it's going to be for a short period. It's not going to be long.
Yeah, okay. Because I was thinking more of a severity note because it could be either way. I mean, I was thinking more of if anything it was more serious. But you're saying it's just going to be he's going to be stripped of it, just more of as a precautionary situation there, and to make sure that he's 100% and not re-injured or make it worse if he does try to wrestle on it.
Yeah.
Even if they did try to I forget the word, but whatever, book a match or book a title match in a way that, he doesn't have to do too many spots, that kind of way. Protect him. That's the word. Just protect him. But they don't even want to risk that because, still he could get injured anyway. Any move, whether it's a simple move or one of his big moves, the signature moves, or his finishing move, style clash. So either way, I think, we'll see. Well, we'll find out, I guess, here shortly if that's the case, if he'll be stripped. I mean, I would assume then on next week on SmackDown Live we'll have a good idea if that is the case. Maybe we already did here this week with the fact that they didn't even have a title match alone. But then again, as I think about it, they could have and just had Ellsworth win and then have that as a big thing. But I don't know. Either way, it's certainly going to be interesting to see and find out how that's going on. Before I want to move on here to Monday Night Raw, is there anything else that you want to bring up having to do with TLC?
Alexa Bliss looked really good, surprisingly. That was a really good match they performed. Thought that was one of the, I wouldn't want to say shocking type of matches because I knew they were going to put on a good match, but I was a little bit more, they over exceeded my expectations a little bit. So that's one thing I commend them for having a really good match. I actually called it Becky Lynch, or I actually called the type of win, but just different opponents. I called Alexa Bliss going through a table outside, but instead Becky Lynch went through a table outside. Well, other than that, it was a good match. That's kind of all I want to say.
Which match on
Corey Graves?
Yeah. Wow. Which match on the entire card would you say for you was match of the night for TLC?
Ooh. I gotta go with AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. They put on a hell of a match. I mean, that 450 splash was just unbelievable. That was unbelievable. They could have won an award during that one. So it's definitely AJ and Ambrose.
And if you had to, what would you put as a grade for the pay-per-view overall?
B plus. And B plus. It was a really good pay-per-view, but it was a B plus. The match card wasn't as strong.
All right. I actually would agree 100% with you. I'd probably go B plus as well for a grade. My match of the night actually would be The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the Intercontinental Championship in a ladder match. But either way, you can't complain. It was a great pay-per-view overall, actually. That's why it earned a B plus for both of us. With some moments that might not have been best, but still overall good pay-per-view. Good fun pay-per-view. And just certainly interesting to see how things will be moving forward for SmackDown Live, because there's many weeks till we get to Royal Rumble. There's a long stretch for SmackDown side of it, from their pay-per-view here early in the month to late in January, when we have the Royal Rumble, the next pay-per-view for them. So that's really going to see interesting how things move on. And I guess you can see that as a good thing. Like you said, precautionary for AJ Styles to be stripped of the WWE World Championship. And it's not whatever, but maybe blessed to be this kind of timing, because you have so many weeks until we get to the Royal Rumble. Like, you have that space where you can maneuver things a little bit better, in my eyes, to have to plan and have to scrounge and find out or make plans, in their the creative meetings for who you're going to have as a champion for the time being, and how that's going to work out. And if there are just going to be a temporary champion, like for Kevin Owens, is Finn Balor supposed to be the champion, becomes champion right away when he comes back? Is that what it's supposed to be? Is just Owens just a placeholder? I don't know. Depending on, I guess that also depends on how Owens' title range went and how he took the ball and ran with it, sort of thing, as well. WWE gives you an opportunity. If you can run with it, then you can always change their minds, and nothing's written in stone. So just in that kind of thinking too. So, because that's really going to be very, very, very interesting. Now, what was also very interesting was the start of Monday Night Raw, with Seth Rollins coming out there pretty much calling out Triple H in a way, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear that and see that happening. And when I thought maybe even hope upon hope that Triple H was actually going to show up, actually going to come out there, but even as Seth Rollins said, the best way to get to him is to take out Kevin Owens and win the Universal Championship and all that other stuff. And then Kevin Owens comes out there, talks about his gifts for Jericho and all this other stuff for Christian tonight and stuff like that. So, what were your thoughts on the opening segment of Monday Night Raw?
That was pretty damn good, actually. It was interesting, so to speak. I mean, other than that, it was a good. It always has for Raw. You always have, something to start off. Raw, either being a main event type of match, is leading up to you two fighting the main event. It's got something going on. I thought it was good. I was more interested towards the middle. Middle going to the end. Everything else was good, but the middle going to the end was like, oh crap, is this really happening? I thought it was pretty good.
Then we got Seth Rollins defeating the Big Show, because I guess one of the gifts for Jericho, or Seth Rollins facing Big Show. See the Big Show return. I know that was certainly interesting for most, or for those that actually cared, for the Big Show's return, and stuff like that. And WWE kind of making fun of themselves. Big Show coming out as a heel, turning on Kevin Owens, and then leaving as a face. So that's of his 101 turns, 2 of them happening there right on the start of Monday Night Raw, right as his return and come back to WWE. Now, I don't know how much longer he'll stay. Reports out there that he'll be done after WrestleMania 33 in his match against Shaquille O'Neal. So, if they're able to go to WrestleMania, we actually get to see Shaq. So that's going to be interesting. But Shaq and Big Show, maybe that might be the end. Coup de grace for his WWE career. So that was there. The two cruiserweight matches: Jack Gallagher versus Davari, and the cruiserweight champion Rick Swann against T.J. Perkins. What are your thoughts on the cruiserweight division? I know I was surprised with them not going to SmackDown Live and staying on Raw and everything, but what are your thoughts on them staying on Raw and how these two matches played out?
Well, I'm telling you now, the cruiserweight division is great. They're not good. They're not okay. I'm sorry. They're not okay. They're not good. They're great, in my opinion. Just the stuff that they do in the ring. I mean, come on. What normal person could do that? I mean, what normal person? I'm exaggerating a little bit when I say this, but what person could do about 4 flips in the air and still hit you at the same time? I mean,
Yeah.
Come on. Let's appreciate greatness. They're not getting the recognition because I think they're on Raw. Raw is a struggling brand. Go to SmackDown, I'm positive you'll get way more attention. Not only is SmackDown the better brand as of now, but SmackDown is still somewhat of the underdog because they're saying they want Raw because Raw's always been the main brand. They want Raw to get that same attention SmackDown getting, but Raw's not doing anything. So if you bring the cruiserweight division, which is somewhat of a new type of thing, not really new, but in this day and age it is. You bring it to SmackDown, you got all these high flying things. Oh my gosh, you got all these people looking at it. They're actually paying attention. I feel like now on Raw, the cruiserweight division is somewhat of the water break. I don't know, somewhat of the bathroom break. That I promise you that won't happen in SmackDown. So, cruiserweight division is good. I love watching 205 Live, but just bring it over to SmackDown. That's it.
I agree. There would be much better utilized over on SmackDown Live for the cruiserweight division. Plus, they have their show there, 205 Live, after SmackDown. Anyways, just makes sense to have that division over there, that brand. Because over on Raw, it just seemed like they haven't been utilized correctly. So like some superstars have been utilized correctly in the women's division and in the regular roster and whatever. To me, that some superstars would do much better over on SmackDown Live because 2 hours and their shows flow better. They use their women's roster a little bit better and having other feuds. And whether or not it still is which one, it still is another one better otherwise than just the title feud. Have something else for the other members of the women's roster within SmackDown Live. And like I said, overall, the shows for SmackDown Live be better 2 hours, easier to digest for the WWE audience and the universe overall than 3 hours, of course. That playing a part of it. So just all in general, SmackDown Live, certainly doing a lot better. And this is what I wanted. This is what I kind of envisioned of what I wanted for SmackDown. If it was to be live, if it was to come back, if it was going to be this brand extension and the draft and all this other stuff that I wanted back and been talking about on my show before, obviously, well before it happened, that this is what I need. This is what SmackDown needs. If it wants to be something again, wants to be of glory days of old when it started with that first main event of Triple H and The Rock for the WWE title. So, and now, it's here. Now it's 2 hours. Now it's SmackDown Live. Now it's, being better than Raw. Not all the time, not every single week. And, sometimes it does have its flawed episodes, but still, even a flawed episode is much better than what it was before it was live. Just taped shows the nature of that beast, because people can read the spoilers like I did each and every week and see, okay, maybe this is one segment I want to see that had to do with Seth Rollins and Triple H or something back when they were together, with the Authority and stuff like that, or this or that, or that match, or okay, I'll watch that, but not the whole show, just bits and pieces of it because you read the spoilers, when they're going to happen, so when to come back, or if it's going to be right at the start. So just things like that. And now having it live, it's just even the little things as well with SmackDown and how they're different with Raw, and how when superstars come out to the ring and they have that little bio thing for them, they're on the left side and stuff like that. So pretty awesome overall for how SmackDown Live has been, and I'm very happy that they decided to go this way to have this brand split. But we are talking about Monday Night Raw and the U.S. Championship match: Roman Reigns versus Chris Jericho. I kind of had a feeling maybe Jericho would win. I mean, the last time or the poster that I've seen for Roadblock into the line, showing Roman Reigns and Kevin Owens for the WWE Universal Championship. Roman Reigns there doesn't have a championship over his shoulders, the U.S. title. Now, I understand maybe that's because you're promoting him to as the number one contender, as the challenger for the WWE Universal Championship. Okay, maybe you can try to say that's the reasoning. I'm sure they have, but I think still you would still have him with his U.S. Championship in the picture and say he's going for the Universal Championship. Then you can also promote that he's trying to be a dual champion and all this stuff. And will he get it done and all that other stuff that you can promote for that match as the main event. But in the poster, it just doesn't show that. So that makes me think. That made me thought that when they had this match, when it was announced and when it happened, that Jericho was going to win by hook or by crook and win the U.S. Championship, which would be awesome. It'd be a cool. Like I thank you from WWE for how Jericho's been, how much the list has gotten over, and all other stuff for him to win the U.S. Championship, because I don't see him even as well as this list is done being being the Universal Champion, but at least the U.S. Champion for his time. Like I said, being here a lot longer than I thought he would. But what were your thoughts on the U.S. Championship match? Did you think Jericho had a chance, and do you think maybe next week, as with the go home show, maybe there is another U.S. Championship match, Jericho winning? Because like I said, I just can't get over with seeing that poster, whatever the reasoning it was, showing Roman Reigns without the U.S. title over his shoulder.
I was very pissed off at the fact that Y2J, I'm going to call him that, he didn't win. So I wanted Chris Jericho to win so bad because I don't want to see Roman fucking Reigns, excuse my French, Roman Reigns winning and having not one, but 2 belts. That makes me sick to my stomach hearing that.
Oh, yeah.
I cannot.
I can't even imagine. Like Twitter is going to explode if that happens on next Sunday.
Twitter is going to erupt, Steve. If he wins and gets that championship, I am not watching Raw. I'm not watching Raw. You won't have any Raw reactions. You will only have Tuesday night SmackDown. That doesn't even sound right. But Tuesday night SmackDown live reactions. Forget Raw, because I'm not watching it anymore. I love Sasha Banks. I love, the women's roster. I'll probably watch only for them, but I'm not. Looking at Roman Reigns, I'm not going to watch his matches. I'm going to unfollow him on Twitter.
I'm surprised you follow him at all.
Hey, I follow everybody on Twitter.
I know. I'm just.
I'm not watching it. I'm just not gonna watch it. But really, I would be really irritated if he did win the match. What I think is gonna happen is though, he probably will, because Kevin Owens has some things iffy with him and Chris Jericho. I have a feeling Chris Jericho is probably gonna mess up the match. I don't know. Something's going to happen with Chris Jericho. The same way I think at Ellsworth. Ellsworth should be champion right now. That's the dude. Ellsworth, Chris Jericho. Something's going to happen to him, Chris Jericho, in the match in Roadblock. I can't give you exactly what it is yet because I'm still contemplating what I think is going to happen. But on the pay-per-view predictions, I definitely will give you what I think will happen. But I just don't want Roman Reigns to win that belt. That's all I'm gonna say.
You want to talk about a video reaction on your channel that I'm most looking forward to would be that one. If Roman Reigns wins.
Yeah, you would definitely get a kick out of that one.
I'll be staring at my my laptop or my device, waiting for that notification from your channel saying that video has been uploaded.
Yeah, it's gonna be wild. It's literally gonna say I'm not watching Raw again. dot dot dot.
Yeah, everything will
So
be in capital letters. Roman wins. I'm not watching Raw.
That's how it's gonna be. Because I'm not watching Raw.
Well, I guess Mark will not be watching Raw because I give it 80 to 90% chance Roman Reigns becoming the WWE Universal Champion next Sunday at the Roadblock in the Line.
Doesn't even sound right.
He'll be the United States Champion and WWE World Champion. He'll be like his former brother Seth Rollins when he was the same. Well, not the same because WWE World, not the Universal, obviously, because that title didn't exist. But you know what I mean. You know, the main champion and the United States Champion. So.
Oh man, that sounds horrible. Oh.
Well, it's better to be prepared for the worst than to keep going thinking that it has no chance of happening. So it's at least you're ready for it in case it does.
Oh man, it's gonna be a sad day.
Now, what did you? All right, now I want to ask you here because there's 3 things left here to talk about Raw, and I'll let you pick which one we want to do next, or talk about next, obviously. And the choices, obviously, the choices here: Rusev and Lana, taking Enzo in hotel room, Cesaro and Sheamus versus Luke Harper and I guess the club for ending in a no contest for the number one contendership to take your titles. And then what was the main event segment? Charlotte Flair and Ric Flair. Charlotte Flair, Ric Flair, and Sasha Banks. We could do this in regular order, but I just wanted to ask you to see which one you wanted to jump on first out of those 3 topics.
Man, I want to say the best for last. You already know what the best is, of course. Lana. We're gonna say that one last. I want to talk about Cesaro.
Okay, go ahead.
But I feel like this is the thing. The tag team of Cesaro and Sheamus has to be the most random thing I've ever seen from Raw in a long time. I mean, come on, they genuinely hate each other. For some reason, I have a feeling they're gonna win the triple threat match. Then New Day is gonna split, which will be the saddest day of my life. I love the New Day. They're so happy. I don't know why they're always happy. It's kind of what we need nowadays. We need people like them.
We do need more positivity in the world, but to me, kind of like the wife, kind of like Bray Wyatt specifically. The New Day got a little bit old and stale to me.
Yeah, you have a point there. But what are you gonna do now? Like, considering the New Day is as big as they are, what are you gonna do when they split? Kofi Kingston's still gonna be Kofi Kingston. High flying Jamaican, or young man. But what about Xavier Woods? Because he's just a jobber. Same with Big E. I mean, they're just gonna do basic stuff. If anything, Big E's gonna be a U.S. champion. I can see that. Xavier Woods, he's just gonna be up, down, down. YouTuber. They're not gonna use him like that. So that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be hard to bring them into the picture solo. So that's what I'm saying. Next Monday, more than likely, they could lose their championship. Hope it doesn't happen. Hope they hold it until like Royal Rumble, like the next WrestleMania or something. Because I like them. At the same time, like you said, it gets stale. But it's just that now that you have 2 tag teams to worry about, it's like, oh man, they really gotta step up the game. So it is what it is. I can see Cesaro and them winning because they were definitely giving them hell at one point when they were wrestling. So plus it looks like it's a fan favorite. So I don't know. It's a little interesting. I'm curious to see how they're gonna do things next Monday. It's gonna be a good match though.
I'm curious, well, and if they're going to have the title change there, or if they're going to have kind of what they did with Charlotte when she was getting close to, oh no, not Charlotte, when Nikki Bella was getting close to AJ Lee's record for longest reigning Divas champion, where that night before the pay per view or whatever it was, not night before, or a week of, or around that time, where she had to defend it against Charlotte, and then due to, or not against Charlotte, against Paige, or whatever that was, due to disqualification, she got the title. Then she had to defend it at the pay per view, and then they lost. Then she lost the title there, but she broke the record and all that other stuff. So I wonder if that's the way it's going to go here with the tag team, where by hook or by crook, where some way they retain their titles on Monday Night Raw, but because of the shenanigans going down, Mick Foley would probably come out there, or Stephanie McMahon herself, would come out there and say, no, well, okay, technically you won tonight, but you're going to defend the titles at the pay-per-view. And they might even, I won't be surprised if they say it's going to be the exact same match. They're going to have a triple threat again at Roadblock on the line because, to be quite honest, depending on who, if they would have one-on-one, tag team match, if they chose either the club or Cesaro and Sheamus, I think, to me, if they picked the club, they knew they would retain. If they pick Cesaro and Sheamus, then Cesaro and Sheamus can be the two new tag team champions on Monday Night Raw. So having it a triple threat still leaves that doubt or wonder, who's going to win. And I know all those fans out there that are club, big fans of the club. I'm sorry, I just don't see them winning the tag team titles, not right now. So, so that's kind of where I see it going. That's kind of how I see it moving forward there in that situation and in that feud there. Jeremy Sugar's feud with the Cesaro and Sheamus, the club, and the WWE Tag Team Champions, the New Day. But they're going to break the record. They're going to be, do all that fun stuff. But then right away, it's going to drop the titles. And I agree with you. It's most likely going to be Cesaro and Sheamus. If it's not, then I guess it's a surprise. But I do look forward to, though, before Big Cass goes on to do bigger and better things in the singles run, I do look forward to seeing Enzo and Cass as Tag Team Champions at some point, too. But for right now, probably goes Cesaro and Sheamus. Maybe that could be the next feud. The next big feud after, for Cesaro and Sheamus, their first big feud defending their tag team titles, going up against Enzo and Cass in a tag team title feud. So that certainly would be pretty awesome. Maybe make that a WrestleMania match right there. There. I'm doing WWE's job. I'm doing WWE's job for them. So there you go. So I guess then next would be talking about Charlotte Flair. Delivering a public apology to Ric Flair, and as it was happening, Charlotte being as awesome as she is, excuse me, I apologize for that. But as well, she's on the mic and the promo and everything, and they kind of working the crowd and working some of the universe because I know there were some people that think that she was being sincere and actually didn't see it coming when she was going to turn. But you should have seen it coming. You should have seen it coming a mile away because that's what Charlotte is. She's an uber heel, full of herself kind of heel. And doing dang well at it, as I may say. But her some work to come out there and stuff crap out of them, and then attacking Sasha Banks. Obviously, Sasha Banks coming out there, trying to make the save and get her little butt kicked there by Charlotte. So it's certainly gonna be interesting to see where this leads. Will Charlotte win the title back at a pay-per-view, continue her undefeated streak, and win in an Iron Woman match? I mean, all the matches that she's won that were supposed to end feuds, like, I don't know, Hell in a Cell, that didn't. But maybe this one will actually do so. I mean, the pay-per-view is called End of the Line, Roadblock End of the Line. So I would hope that feud will be the end of that line for sure. Because not that I dislike it because of the two women in it. They're the two best in the division overall, not just on Monday Night Raw, yada yada. But just the fact that they've had so many matches and the way that it's been being hot potatoes with Sasha Banks winning titles only on Monday Night Raw, for gosh sakes. I mean, gosh forbid she actually wins a title on the pay-per-view. I mean, I don't know. But beyond that, Charlotte getting the pay-per-view, you know which one is higher up than the other in the hierarchy, Charlotte over Sasha. Now, it may be closer than they think because they both are great talents, but just in that way, even if Sasha successfully defended the title next Sunday, still wouldn't feel as grand to me Because you retained your job, you won this big match. Okay, that's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but it's just not as great as if she was winning the title in that big match. At the pay-per-view. So having her win titles on Monday Night Raw, kind of devalue her title reigns. Even the number three. I think it's three now. Three championship reigns. This one being her third one. In a year. Kind of devalues them, in my opinion, with their only winning them on Monday Night Raw. Now, I know there's going to be some out there, and I respectfully understand, but respectfully disagree with you and your assessment of saying that, okay, she won the title on Raw, still a title win. She's still, valued highly in the company, and yes, she is, but it's still, to me, that her winning at WWE, just not even throwing her a bone and letting her win one at the pay-per-view and any of her reigns is sort of interesting and might be saying more about the situation there in the women's division than we may even know. So I guess just want to obviously get your thoughts on the segment there to end Monday Night Raw, and Charlotte and Rick as well.
Honestly, Steve, they basically killed the feud. Just kill it. Because it's been used so many times on so many different pay-per-views. It's getting old now. It's getting, stale. They need to add somebody in there. For crying out loud, add Bailey in there, god damn it. Just to get somebody. Because this whole Sasha Charlotte, like you said, it's a freaking hot potato. It's just Sasha wins, Charlotte wins, Sasha wins, Charlotte wins. Hell, Ric Flair may even win at one point. Like, they gotta have somebody else in this storyline or this feud, and it's whatever you want to call it, to make it a little bit more interesting. I could sweeten this flavor. I'm not, and I love Sasha Banks. You guys know how much I love Sasha Banks. Oh my god, I die for Sasha Banks. Exaggeration, but it's dying now. Give Sasha the Charlotte title. Honestly, it doesn't even matter. Give anybody the title. Let the feud end. Preferably Sasha for me, because I love Sasha. But let the feud end. Reignite another feud. Maybe give Nia Jax a little push, a slight push. Give her like a Bailey and Nia Jax feud. Let that feud, start up something, and then let that winner of that feud, let the person who kind of wins that whole situation, then kind of start something with Sasha or Charlotte, depending on whoever wins the match. You can't just continuously give us Sasha and Charlotte. That's why SmackDown's women's roster is doing so much better, in my opinion, than the Raw women's roster. The SmackDown women's roster isn't as loaded as the Raw women's roster, but they're still delivering, surprisingly. So that's what I'm saying. Just kind of like, if I was Raw, I'd take some notes from SmackDown and just, copy off of them, if anything. But yeah, the whole Ric Flair Charlotte thing, a little interesting. I don't know what in Sasha's mind decided, that it was okay to go over to the ring and, I don't know, defend Ric Flair, because she failed at it miserably. I mean, she got carried like a rag doll. I think Charlotte is a little interesting in the way that she has mixed emotions at times. One moment she's asking for somebody to come out, the next moment she's trying to kill him. So there's a word I want to say, but I don't want to say it because I don't want to offend other people. So,
right.
Yeah, she's a little bit confusing. But I considered the promo. I thought the whole segment was actually pretty good. Like I said, they even had a glimpse of a non-PG era moment. The whole. I feel like this is what I actually realized. They're using non-PG era moments in the third hour of Raw. If you ever pay attention, we're gonna bring it up right after this. the Enzo Rusev situation was on the third hour. They never had that in a long time. The the Charlotte segment with cursing and stuff was on the third hour. The third hour is like a testing to see how everything is gonna be if they did use it. In my opinion, I think they should just put that issue on everything. But they use the third hour to use things to see how it will be with the audience, knowing that the first and second hour, the young audience is still up, still awake, they're still doing their thing, they're still watching it. By the third hour, that young audience is gone. And you're talking about teenagers and young adults and adults. It's just those three. So that's like the testing waters type of hour. The 8 and 9-year-olds aren't up at 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
So that's like, okay, let's just see what we can do on this hour, see what it deals with the fans. That's why we had the Rusev situation. That's why we had the Lana situation. That's why we had the Charlotte, dropping the B word on everybody. This bitch, all the other stuff. That's why they had that on the third hour to see how it, will play out. And in my opinion, they should just put that on every hour because Raw really needs it. So I thought the Charlotte segment was actually very, very, very clever, and it was very good.
No, I certainly was very entertaining. Like I said, Charlotte's been killing as a heel and one of the best in WWE for sure. And certainly will be here to see how things go at the pay-per-view. But let's jump right into that. They're the final segment, or not the final segment of Raw, but the final thing to talk about here for Raw. Being part of that third hour, Lana and Rusev luring poor little Enzo there to the hotel room to get his butt handed to him. It's kind of funny there, actually, when Rusev was supposed to come out for the match, and Cass is standing there. He's looking down, then he looks up, and he realizes he's looking down. He's like, he realizes, he gets that epiphany moment of what's going on, and then he, looks for a phone, and for some reason he knows Enzo's phone number by heart, so that was really interesting. But anyways, and calling Enzo and seeing if he would answer, and obviously he's not going to answer because it's an unknown number. Hello, but no, they're just that Enzo. Big Cass, actually being pretty cool, at least to me. Just in the scene, or just in the overall scheme of things, even though he wasn't prominent to the actual what was going on. But like I said, it's an interesting thing you brought up there with the third hour and everything with these non-PGs, and actually the more and more you spoke of it, made me think more and more of thinking that probably is true, and just seeing what they can get away with, kind of like old style aggression era, attitude era segments and backstage stuff.
This is what I can say though. They need more of that. I'd hate to see not necessarily. Let's just be real. What really attracted most of us was the fact that Lana was looking the way that she did. Let's just be real. Hell, I was just glued. It was just like that the whole time. Because if it's not Sasha Banks, then it's Lana. And if it's not Lana, shit, I don't know. So yeah, let's just be real. That's the only reason most of us were looking at that. And if you were a female, and I don't know. So it, the ruthless aggression era, attitude era, we saw a tiny glimpse of that. Just a little bit. And like I said, they're just testing the waters to see how shit could go. Excuse me, I need to stop cussing. They're testing the waters to see how things could go with if they use that type of segments. I think you could see more and more of that in the near future, but it's gonna be like it's just tiny moments. You're not going to see it on a consistent basis, which I think they should bring it on a consistent basis. They should bring more of that backstage feel, not that, the outside of the air arena type of thing. You know, just things like that, where, you know, it's not necessarily wrestling related. And what was I going to say? And that also brings a feel like, hey, you know, they're actually not in the ring. They're doing something outside. Hell, they could be wrestling, you know, I don't know. Okay, notice how Rusev was just tossing Enzo everywhere. That could be, you know, sound like, hey, that's pretty cool. I want to watch next week's episode to see if they do the same thing. It's just seeing how things may go, and I think they should just bring more and more of it. Just different.
Yeah, that's just the fact that I like with the other week, having that barroom fight and everything, kind of bringing things back, having outside the ring kind of promos, kind of segments, situations that are, kind of throwbacks to aggression or the Attitude Era a little bit, just in the overall idea of it, of doing something like that. I think trying to go out of their box, out of their comfort zone, so to speak, of this era, new era, whatever you want to call it, era of WWE. So I certainly don't mind it and liked it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, as well in particular. But, I think that should do it for Raw. Nothing else on my end to talk about here. For Monday Night Raw, so let's then venture over to SmackDown Live for this week. AJ Styles coming out and announcing he would not compete, having that walking boot on his leg. And like I said earlier, or like we even spoke about and talked about earlier, about AJ Styles, like this in itself, what happened on SmackDown Live, that it actually could show their hand or something. Like maybe it actually would be true. Like he actually would have to be stripped, or the precautionary, or whatever the reasoning is, that might actually be the case. And then after that was the rematch for the SmackDown Tag Team titles, Bray Wyatt and Orton defeating Slater and Rhino. And I'm just saying both of them just to put them all together, because I know we already talked about Styles immensely, but if there's anything else you wanted to add to that, since we're now into SmackDown Live, about that, and then the Tag Team titles and Wyatt and Orton.
Well, I'm gonna say one thing. Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton, together they look like some type of heavy metal group. It's just, I don't know. This is the way they show themselves. I could see them holding the tag team titles for a certain period of time, and then knowing Randy Orton, he's going to do something and just mess up the whole thing. Talking about Heath Slater and Rhino, I think that's the end. We're not going to see much of them. I was kind of expecting that at the same time too. But when it comes to Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton, what's going to happen is, this is just in my opinion, this is what I predict. They're going to hold it for probably a pay-per-view or two. Then Randy Orton, out of nowhere, is going to turn their back on the Wyatt family, because Randy Orton is himself. All he needs is himself. Doesn't need anybody else. He's going to turn his back on the Wyatt family. They're going to recreate some type of, issue out of that, or they're just going to kill the whole, rivalry. Randy Orton's going to do his own thing, because, like I said, Randy Orton doesn't really need anybody. So they're going to have another match, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. I can see Randy Orton winning that one. But before all that happens, they're going to lose the tag team championships. Somebody, I don't know, American Alpha or something like that. Then, like I said, they're just going to have another main event match. And from there, just time will tell what happens.
I accidentally muted myself. Anyways, okay, but we have a short little time here left for this episode. So I kind of want to speed past everything else here for Monday Night Raw and go right to the main event, the IC title match, The Miz and Dean Ambrose. So you're welcome to talk about anything else during or leading up to it of SmackDown Live that you might want to briefly touch upon. But meat and potatoes, you're talking about the IC title match and Ellsworth taking his notes there
Whose word?
again.
The dog. The goat.
So, no, you can go. Talk about that or anything else that you want to talk about SmackDown Live that we haven't yet.
Uh-huh. It's not nothing much related to SmackDown Live, what's going on.
Right.
But
Right.
rumor has it the Undertaker's hurt. If you heard about that, and that is affecting his WrestleMania return, even his SmackDown return. Rumor has it he's coming back to SmackDown. Do you think that him being as old as he is, no problems with that. Do you think Undertaker being injured, being age he is, WrestleMania, do you think he's going to perform the same way that he always has?
Well, actually, the last couple of years, he hasn't really performed the same way he always has because he is older, and his matches aren't going to be as good quality as we know from the early years. So anybody, you get older, he's don't work as well as they used to. So, do I think he'd be able to work to what we expected, what we're used to of the Undertaker? Probably not, and that should have been expected the last couple of years. But I do see him there. I do see him having a match, whether he wins or loses, whatever. However that's booked, I don't really care. But as long as he's there, do have a match. Now, if it is anything worse or anything serious or surgery or whatever, that could end his career. Just like Sting. Hearing reports that he doesn't want to get back surgery because that officially means his wrestling career is donezo and over.
Mm-hmm.
So with the Undertaker, that could be the situation too. If it is, then maybe he'll be at WrestleMania, but it won't be in a match. He'll be going to the Hall of Fame. So either way, he'll be part of WrestleMania. So that'll be fun. And hopefully it will be a match because I think that's the way it's going to go. It's going to be him in a match. Now, what's going to show what's going on in that situation is if we don't have Styles and Undertaker at Royal Rumble, because if Styles has to be, we go by, what you were reporting early in the episode, but AJ Styles having to be stripped of the WWE World Championship, then obviously you're not going to get that match at Royal Rumble. You might not even get that match at WrestleMania with the Undertaker situation that you brought up here. So in my humble opinion, I do still think he's going to be wrestling. Will be for the title, will it, whatever, I don't know. If I had to guess, and if I had to make a prediction or a bold prediction or whatever people want to call it, I'd probably say the Undertaker is in a match, one-on-one. One-on-one with John Cena at WrestleMania. The Undertaker's against Cena at WrestleMania. So that's just where I see it. I guess for that, what are your thoughts?
It's actually crazy because a lot of people, like a lot of YouTubers, actually saying, rumors and reports that John Cena was going to be the contender for Undertaker's match at 33, I think. I would love to see a triple threat match between Styles, Cena, and Undertaker because all three of them are great in their own fighting style. They're great in their own ways. I'd rather see a triple threat than just a one-on-one, to be honest with you. But yeah, actually thinking about it, age does play a factor, and that's why I think Undertaker is gonna perform, gonna have his moments. The crowd never gives up on him. Let's just be honest with that. So I'd rather see a triple threat than a one-on-one. I'm just gonna keep it like that.
Okay. Any other news, notes, or just in general WWE things that we want to bring up here at the end of the episode? We do have a couple minutes left here. If you want to bring up one or two topics that you think should be discussed, if there are any.
Well,
news-wise,
I think I just have one more.
Okay.
You ready for Emelina?
I've been ready for Emelina.
I'm really.
I've been ready for Emelina because I've been having to deal with those promos or not promos, but just promo packages for her each and every week.
I want to know, like, what is the transition? I'm I'm so
I mean, it's not like
confused.
she wasn't hot before.
Yeah, like, I remember when she used to do this thing like that or whatever it's called. Like,
Yeah, when
I
she
don't
was
know
with
what this
Santino
was.
a little bit.
Yeah, I what is what is the transition? And then let me give you the timeline. She used to do she used to do this little thing like that. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And then she goes to like that to like just not nobody. But I'm sorry to be rude or whatever to nobody. Then to like some type of ultra badass with the glasses at WrestleMania 30, what, 31? Yeah, WrestleMania 31. Then she just disappeared, and now we're getting Emelina. I mean, I don't know what the hell is what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I'm a little confused on how they're gonna, think that this is actually gonna work. But yeah, like I said, like you said, I've been ready for Emelina. I don't know what is taking her so long. I thought she was supposed to come this week, but she didn't. So we gotta wait another week, Steve. Gotta wait another week.
Well, at least finally coming to and she will be on Raw. That's all that matters to me, so that'll be good. But I guess that'll do it for tonight's episode, this week's episode of Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Everybody check out Lazy Booking Podcast and the team there. Follow them on Twitter at Lazy Booking PC, and follow each and every team member of that panel of that great show. Individually is in the about section in the bio there of the show's Twitter handle at Lazy Booking PC. Their channel here on YouTube, obviously, Lazy Booking Podcast. They do live episodes every week, Wednesday or Thursday, whatever day works best for their team, scheduling wise and everything with, life and other things going on. Um, Usually would be Thursdays at 7, but, have to go over there, listen, and they might be changing things up. And they let me know as well because they're going to be getting weekly shout outs here on this show, Lazy Booking Podcast. Definitely check them out, subscribe to their channel because because they're awesome and they're good people, and because, like I said earlier, for the Royal Rumble prediction episode, I might be going over there. They might be coming here, or at some point in the future, they might be coming here as well. So definitely looking forward to that for us working together. Lazy Booking Podcast and Steve's Wrestling Ramble. Kind of infusing it as one. So thanks to those that watch live, those that will be watching archived. I'll be back here next week. Hopefully, Raunchy Mikey will be able to join us again as our third member of this team.
You must.
Indeed. And next week, Raw and SmackDown, the go-home show from Monday Night Raw, heading into Roadblock End of the Line. And then the next week, so 2 weeks, people are going to want to watch because depending on how Roadblock goes, and if Roman Reigns wins the Universal Championship, we might have to leave Mark Rambo out of the Raw reviews. So, but we'll certainly see how things go. But thanks to everybody that watched live and archived. I'll be back next week, same time, same channel, same place, same faces. And as always, take care.